thought the meeting started at 7.
6:45 for
Why am I going to some
Recording in progress.
All right, good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Lunenburg Select Board. We have a tri-board meeting starting right after this. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel, on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page, and will be uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. So the Select Board has a couple items that we have to get through first, and up first is a joint meeting of the Select Board, School Committee, and Moderator to appoint a representative to the Montechusett Regional Vocational School Committee. And we have Stephanie Quinn here as our candidate. So first, I will ask the Chair of the School Committee to call the School Committee to order.
I hereby call the school committee to order.
All right, fantastic. All right, so we are in our joint meeting now, so I will pass it over to you, Ms. Quinn, to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Quinn. I live at 150 Houghton's Mill Road in Lunenburg. I am a proud parent of two Monty Tech graduates in 2022 and 2024. They had a wonderful experience there. I have worked in a school district. I work in Chelmsford Public School for the last 23 years now. I am the History and Social Science Department Coordinator for the entire district. I look forward to serving the community in this manner and giving lots of insight and feedback from our community to the Monty Tech School Committee.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. All right, I'll open it up to any Select Board members that have any questions. Trying to see where everyone's at. Brian.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. I think you have a very extensive background in education, which I think would be great. I think you'd be a great member on the Lunenburg School Committee as well. My question was going to be, what experience do you have as in a vocational setting and supporting vocational schools? But the fact that you said both of your children went to Monty Tech, I feel like you support Monty Tech as well, so I support this appointment.
Thank you.
As do I. Anything else from any Select Board members? Okay, I'll pass it off to the School Committee.
Does any school committee member have any questions?
All right, so we can vote on this separately, so the Select Board can go first. Is there a motion to appoint?
I make a motion to appoint Stephanie Quinn to the Montechusett Vocational Schools School Committee.
Second.
Any additional discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion passes unanimously.
Make a motion, or I'm looking for a motion to appoint Stephanie to the Montechusett School Committee.
I motion to appoint Stephanie Quinn to the Montechusett Regional School Committee. I second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And then, Mr. Moderator, I believe you
Absolutely.
get a vote too.
I do have one vote. And I had the pleasure of talking to Stephanie earlier as we were getting set up, and I can understand that she has a great passion for this, and we hope she serves just as long as her predecessor did, which was many, many, many years. Barbara Reynolds served us very well over those many years. So I would definitely move to appoint her as well.
All right, great. Okay. All right, congratulations. You know you need to get sworn in tomorrow before the meeting.
Yep.
Okay, and you know where to go for that. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for coming in, Stephanie.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you for volunteering.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for.
All right, so the school committee can vote to close their meeting now. We have two items that we have to do still, real quick.
Looking for a motion to close our meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the school committee meeting.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We close our meeting.
All right, we'll do this real quickly. So up first, authorize FY 2026 to FY 2028 agreement between the Town of Lunenburg and the Montechusett Regional Transit Authority, MART, for Council on Aging Services. Jen, all the way over there, did you get a response from them?
Yes, so you have a response in your packet, but in short, the language about the insurance for MART was a holdover language. They had not been reimbursing for the duration of this contract, but the cost of the insurance is $209 if they were, so that's what we would be looking at, but they haven't been reimbursing anyways, so it's a language cleanup, but not a substantive change.
All right, great. Any questions on that?
Nope.
All right, is there a motion to authorize the agreement between the Town of Lunenburg and MART for Council on Aging Services?
So moved. Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes unanimously. And one more, recommendations to the Master Plan Steering Committee on the Master Plan update. Do any members have any additional feedback that they want to discuss before we end up sending this back to them?
No.
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 All right, fantastic. And with that, I will, well, I guess I'll just keep the meeting going. Or should I close it? Close it. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn at 7:01 PM.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion passes unanimously. All right, we can start with our regularly scheduled tri-board meeting now.
It's good
Okay,
timing.
so this,
Good timing, though.
now it's 7:01. This is the tri-board meeting of Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. It is 7 o'clock, and we are here in the Bellotta Meeting Room at Town Hall. And although it seems repetitious, it seems appropriate that we should pledge the flag.
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And although you may already have heard the same preamble, I will repeat it for this particular meeting. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel on Facebook Live and on the Public Access Facebook page. Additionally, please be advised that the town of Lunenburg utilizes the Zoom platform as its host for these hybrid and remote meetings. This meeting will be held in person at the location provided on the notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if there are technical problems that interrupt the virtual broadcast. If you wish to watch this broadcast remotely from a computer, please use the link that was provided in the posting. The agenda lists all the topics that may be discussed at the meeting and those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Not all items listed may be discussed, and other items may be not listed may be brought up for discussion as permitted by the open meeting law. At this point in time, I would ask each one of the committees to open their meeting. I'll start with schools.
School committee is called to order.
Okay? And select board.
Select Board is called to order.
And finance.
Finance Committee is called to order.
Excellent. And the first matter of business is we're doing preliminary budget presentations tonight, and we're starting with DPW. And I can see our director is here. Welcome. You may sit up here. You may have my seat, but I don't want to get up. There you go. Thank you, Bill.
The trip.
Yep.
All right. So my name is Bill Bernard. I'm the DPW director. I'll fly through my presentation. I'm going to start off by just listing my goals and objectives, and then I dive into them a little bit. So our first goal is employee experience, or to enhance the employee experience. And objective 1 is to work with the staff to boost morale. Objective 2, again, work with the staff to get a new collective bargaining agreement for our highway crew. Objective 3 is to identify needs for additional staff and advocate for that. Objective 4 is to increase training. Objective 5 is to work with staff again to identify weaknesses in our orientation and onboarding practices. And objective 6 is to get the sewer business manager position reclassified. Goal number 2 is related to the snow and ice budget. So the objective number 1 is to reduce spending by using town equipment rather than hiring private vendors to plow our snow. Objective number 2 is to hire a new heavy equipment operator. We've been short since August. Objective 3 is to hire 2 to 4 intermediate heavy equipment operators or seasonal heavy equipment operators to drive our existing equipment, again, instead of hiring out. And objective number 4 is to request capital funds for another CDL class plow truck. And goal number 3 is for stormwater utilities. So the first objective is to get a draft of a warrant article for the 2026 annual town meeting to try to get that approved. Objective number 2 is to work with the Stormwater Task Force to gain support, so by attending meetings like with the Select Board and the Finance Committee and others. Objective number 3 assumes that the utility is passed, is to start hiring staff to fill out the stormwater utility. And then objective 4, again, assuming it's passed, is to start purchasing equipment that will be used by the utility. All right, so that's the highlights of it. So now we'll jump into it a little deeper. So for employee experience, I'm going to need additional funding to accomplish the goals, right? So the first goal was the collective bargaining agreement. Right now, we have some of the lowest paid highway workers of the 25 towns that we compare to, as low as the 10th percentile. The next goal is the staff, I believe, is understaffed. So rough standard industry is one worker for every 8 to 15 miles of roadway. Do the math on us, it comes out to be 6 workers, where it could be as much as 11 workers. The reason why I want to increase is there's just increased demand almost every day to get work done, and we just don't have the staff to do it. And like this summer, we had one guy out for most of the summer on injury, another guy left, so we were down, that's 40% of the staff. So we didn't do quite as much work as we should have this summer. Goal number 3, right? Stormwater utility, that will increase staff if it's passed. We can use, that staff will be helping out with the highway staff. Additional funds is also needed to help out with the executive assistant position. Right now, the executive assistant is shared between DPW and facilities. Most days is okay, but there are times at crunch time, the workload's way too much, it's stressing people out, mistakes can be made easily. So we need some help there. There's a big demand for the cemeteries, the grass to be mowed a lot more. Right now, we only have 1 person in the cemeteries. We supplement with 2 seasonal laborers. But I think we need a full-time cemetery laborer. That'd be somebody who can just cut the grass full-time. And it would also help with goal number 2, the snow and ice budget, because that person would be here in the winter, can drive one of the smaller plow trucks. I also believe we need a fleet supervisor mechanic. We only have 1 mechanic now. He's responsible for all DPW, police and fire equipment. Why we need a fleet supervisor is we need to have better repair and maintenance records, and we need somebody to help with purchasing equipment. A lot of that falls on me. I work with the mechanic, but it pulls away from the DPW director's position. Additional funding is needed to reclassify the sewer business manager position. Presently it's classified as a grade 8. Back in '24, the personnel committee ranked it as a grade 12, but then they changed their minds, not sure why. There's no other position in town that manages a budget in excess of $2 million like the sewer business manager does. That's less than a grade 16, and he's only a grade 12. There's a perception that it's just an administrative type position, but given the responsibilities and accountabilities of the position, it is truly a management position. And there are no other positions that require the extensive use of munis and knowledge of rules, regulations, and laws that's less than a grade 14. So I think this is long overdue. So potential cost savings, if we implement all this, is increased risk management training will get us higher rewards. And if we institute a new orientation, onboarding, and mentoring program, we're definitely going to help with retention and productivity. All right, goal number 2, snow and ice budget. We can see cost savings if we purchase our own equipment instead of hiring out trucks. So I did an analysis, I got a big spreadsheet if anybody wants to see it, but the bottom line is it costs at least 8.5% less to use our own equipment, our own operators, than to hire out. And I based that off of the cost of our highest paid heavy equipment operator. If you put the other guys in there, that 8.5% will grow. The average annual savings was just around $2,500. But the added bonus is if we buy the truck, we have that truck year round, not just the winter, so we can use it during the summer. So again, we need to hire another heavy equipment operator to get us back to full staff. The guy that's injured is supposed to come back next week, fingers crossed. Again, we need 2 to 4 intermediate heavy equipment operators to operate our trucks. Right now, we should have 6 trucks by the time the snow flies. I've had 2 trucks on order for 19 months, and they're telling me they're coming soon. So we have 6 trucks, but we only have 3 CDL drivers. So we need to hire people to drive those trucks. I think in the new collective bargaining agreement is we should look at a CDL training program. We found it easier to hire laborers than to hire heavy equipment operators. A lot of people with the CDL license and the hoisting license, they don't want to come work here for the small pay. But we were able to hire laborers, and if we train them up, have them get their CDL, first of all, we know who they are, right? They'll probably be here a year or so. We know if they're good. We know if they're going to work out. And in the long run, it'll help us. Since I've worked here, it's been just a revolving door on heavy equipment operators. They come in, they work, one guy a week, one guy a few months, another guy 6 months. The guy that just left was here 2 years. That was the longest one. There's other opportunities out there for them, so they take it. So snow and ice budget again. Like I said, if we purchase the new CDL class dump truck, I'm going to request that in my capital request this year, and estimated cost is about $425,000. That same truck, when I priced it in '22, was only $300,000. Prices are going crazy on trucks. So the reason why I need the seventh truck is we have 7 snow and ice routes. Right now, we only have 6 trucks, so I have to hire somebody else to, take on that 7th route, and that truck costs more. And a little bit about the Mass General laws allows municipalities to deficit spend for snow and ice removal. Our goal is to reduce the deficit, but not to the point where it goes away, because if you do that, then you can't deficit spend the next year. So over the last 5 years, our deficit is $255,000. So you'll see in subsequent slides that I want to increase by 2.5% each year, just to help reduce that deficit spending. Plus, if we're not hiring more trucks, that'll help reduce it too. All right, goal number 3, the stormwater utility. So the reason why we need that is there's just not enough operational capital in Chapter 90 funds to do all the work that's required by the MS4 permit. So for those that don't know, the MS4 permit is the Municipal Separated Storm Sewer System Program. It's part of the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System established by the Clean Water Act, so a federal act. And the goal of the MS4 permit is to reduce pollution from stormwater runoff that is just discharged at the local water bodies through municipal storm sewers. So the big concern for the feds, for us, is the runoff that gets ultimately into the Nashua River system. Failure to comply with this law can result in penalties that can exceed $50,000 per day. Do I think that's going to happen to us? No, but it could. So the stormwater utility will be an enterprise fund, meaning it's self-supported with user fees rather than through general tax revenues. So it would result in less reliance on operational funds. We'll be adding new personnel. We need an administrative assistant, mostly for the billing purposes. And it could be shared with DBW, which will help with goal number 1, employee experience, try to take some load off of my executive assistant. We will need to hire a stormwater GIS/engineer. Again, that'll take some of the workload off of the DPW director regarding field investigations and inspections, logging and reporting of data. We'll have to hire another heavy equipment operator whose main job focus will be stormwater. They could do the sweeping and catch basin cleaning and other tasks. And again, that person would be available in the winter to drive one of the CDL trucks, help with goal number 2, the snow and ice budget. The stormwater utility fund will be used to buy new equipment. So we would need a 1-ton dump truck. The cost of those is getting ridiculous, $100,000 by the time we purchase it. I purchased one less than 2 years ago for $62,000, and now they're almost $100,000. We don't have a pipe inspection camera, which we really need. Right now, we have to hire out for that. We don't do it as often as we should, but if we had the camera, it would truly help us. And instead of having the clamshell catch basin cleaner truck, we want to upgrade to a vacuum jetter truck. Right now, we hire them out. They're $2,700 a day. And if we did have a sewer overflow somewhere, having the truck in-house would be there much faster than trying to call vendors and see if they can come out. you know, many of our pump stations, if that's where the overflow is, are right next to wetlands, so we don't want to be polluting wetlands with an overflow. All right. So the next slide is a look at the organizational chart as it stands today. And Jen, you can bump us up. You can see it's a small crew, especially on the highway side. We have 3 heavy equipment operators and 2 driver laborers and the highway superintendent. The next slide shows the proposed DPW chart, right? So that would be hiring a part-time administrative assistant, potentially, a fleet supervisor, and the full-time cemetery laborer, and then the yellow on the right there is the whole new stormwater crew, the administrative assistant, the GIS engineer, and the heavy equipment operator. All right, then, quick overview. This is a snapshot of the budgets, kind of broken down by department. So this is assuming that the stormwater utility is enacted in FY '27. Right, so I dig deeper into it. So the tree removal department, I'm saying we could pretty much level fund going out the next 3 years. Excuse me. So general highway, which covers a lot, but drainage and stormwater line items are in that. So we will see decreases in the drainage and stormwater line items if the stormwater utility is enacted. In FY '26, the pavement management line got slashed pretty bad. So I put it back to where it should be in FY '27, and the goal was to bump it up $50,000 a year thereafter. So that's what this plan is showing. So I threw in Chapter 90 here because we talked about pavement management and drainage. Even if we enact a stormwater utility, we're still going to need money to do engineering and drainage repairs. So I've recently got a culvert and bridge report that points out what we have, what deficiencies, and there's quite a few. So there'll be a project pretty much a year, you know. So 1 year I do the engineering, next year I'll ask for the construction funds, and that's on top of everything else the stormwater utility will be doing. And we also, even with the pavement management money being put back in, we will still have to grab some money out of Chapter 90 for pavement management. All right, the highway supplies, I say we can level fund that. The next one is the labor, right? So that there will be increases there, right? There will be a new collective bargaining agreement for the highway crew. And then there's the regular pay raises for the clerical and SAP employees. I just took a guess on where the numbers might be for this budget, but until that's hammered out, we don't know. And then snow removal, again, I said bump it up 2.5% annually, so each line item I bumped up 2.5% each year going out. Traffic signs and devices, I think we can continue to level fund that. Vehicle maintenance for DPW only, I think we can continue to level fund that. The cemetery department, pretty much level fund except again for salaries. And again, it's kind of a guess where we're going to be, and added in the new cemetery laborer if we can. In the recycling and the solid waste programs, excuse me, I think we can level fund those. We have a contract with G.W. Shaw through FY '29, and their rates have been pretty good, and the citizens in town are pretty good about the recycling and putting their trash in the yellow bags and not throwing away too much. So I think we can continue level funded there. So then I took a look at the budget. If the stormwater utility is not enacted, and that's just a quick overview. So the next slide kind of shows the difference if it is not enacted and if it is enacted. So the difference is in FY '28, 335,000, in FY '29, 420,000. So the next slide will explain that a little bit. And again, it's the reasons for the bumps. If it's not enacted, I'm going to need more money in the drainage line item and the stormwater line item, just to do some of the work that the MS4 permit is requiring. So this one just kind of highlights what is needed. If the stormwater is not approved, again, funding to meet the requirements of the MS4 permit, and engineering support for drainage, stormwater, and infrastructure repairs, and to hire another heavy equipment operator. I threw in my preliminary look at capital planning. So it's FY '27 around $1 million, FY '28 1.2, and FY '29 around $1 million. And it mostly consists of replacement equipment on our regular schedule for that, engineering and construction for drainage, bridge, projects. And one thing that's a little different is for snow and ice. Right now, our existing salt shed was built in the 1960s, so the timber structure that sits on the concrete foundation is in pretty bad shape. There's holes in the roof. It's sliding off the concrete at one spot. There's no door, so moisture is getting in there. It's only a matter of time before that thing falls. So I'm going to have requests for engineering to build a new shed and then construction of that shed. But also, the nature of the snowstorms now is, I'm sure everybody's noticed, it's more rain and sleet and ice instead of heavy snow, which requires more salt. And salt is not cheap. So it's one of the things we can do to help reduce the salt is use liquid de-icing chemicals or anti-icing chemicals, depending on how you use them. Mass DOT has been doing that for over 20 years, and they've seen reductions in their salt usage. So it's the way of the future for snow and ice, and we should be there. Grants, so I try to apply for as many grants as I can, but most grants are competitive, therefore we can't count on them being as a funding source. And grants are for capital projects, they don't help with the operational budget. Any questions or comments?
Must be some, right?
I'm ready.
Just call on people. I'm not going to do that. Brian's going to go.
Yeah, I have.
No, you just call on people.
So, Bill, thank you for the presentation and the detail. I did have a question about the stormwater utility. Has there been other towns that have implemented this? And also, in regards to the user fees, can you be a little bit more specific of like who are the users, what those costs to the users would be, what those fees would be? Would every citizen be a user?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how many towns in Massachusetts yet, but around 50, maybe some more by this time. User fees, so right now, nothing's settled, right? We're still discussing it, but we're looking, users will be everybody who owns a piece of property in town, right? So residents and businesses. we want to keep it as less expensive as we can, so I think we're going to set a flat rate for residents. It's looking like it's going to be $60 per year, so not too big. But then we have a sliding scale for businesses and others based on the amount of impervious surface, so where the water can't infiltrate into the ground, that surface. So if you have a big parking lot, a big roof, you're going to pay more, right? So if you have a smaller parking lot, smaller roof, you'll pay a little less. But it will be more than the residents paying. So again, we're working through those details.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is the flat rate a fixed rate, or will it change year to year?
It could potentially change. We're also looking at maybe we can give people breaks on it if they have stormwater BMPs in the yard already. That's something for the future. I think just to get us up and running, we'll just do that flat rate of 60 for everybody and then implement, changes as we go. I think I'll need a bigger staff to help with that, right? Because somebody might come in and say, I got this BMP, why am I paying the same as my neighbor who doesn't, right? But somebody has to go out and investigate that and make sure it's being maintained, right? If it's not maintained, it's not doing its job. So that's why you need the staff for that.
Did you have a slide with the cost to the town of implementing a stormwater utility? Or it would just be the fees. So would we charge 1 year up front and then it would be implemented after the charge is enacted? Or is there going to be the town put some money up front and then it becomes an enterprise?
No, there's no money from the town, so it'll all be user fees.
Okay, but there would be a delay between the taxes and we have to pay the user fee, and then it would get up and running. You would hire people
Right,
and buy the
so
equipment.
in my budgets, in FY '27, assuming it's enacted in '27, the stormwater and drainage lines in '27 are the same or up from last year, from '26. But then in '28 and '29, they go down, right? Because that's when we'll have the money, like you're saying. Yeah, we can't start the program with $0, so.
I had another question. One of the slides said that there was a 25% more for hired plows, and then one of the other ones said it was 8.5% more greater than a DPW heavy equipment operator. So what's the difference between those two figures?
The 25% is wrong. So I had done that spreadsheet last year, and at that point, it was around 25% with a different cost. But the biggest thing was the cost of the truck went way up, right? So that brought it down to that 8.5%.
So outsourcing plowing, did it get cheaper, or what are the parameters that changed?
What the biggest change was when I put in the cost of us buying a new truck, I had the $300,000. Now it's $425,000 for the same truck.
Okay, so
Right,
which
so I
number
built in the cost of the truck into, what it costs overall to use it, right?
So which number is accurate, the 25% or the 8.5?
8.5.
Okay.
I have a few questions. You said that the snow ice stuff is for FY '25 was around 408,000. In FY '23, I remember there was a lot of snow that year. It looks like this year was also high, but I don't think of this past year as a lot of snow. Do you have a cause, like in FY '23, it was a lot of snow? What happened in FY '25?
There was a lot of ice storms, so it's basically you're babysitting, right?
Okay.
They go out, they put salt, they wait till it gets slippery again, they go out and do it again. Right, there wasn't a lot of snow, but we had temperatures right near the freezing line, and sometimes above, but the roads could still freeze then. So they were there longer hours, and we had more hired equipment at expensive rates, so.
This year, because I know that the rental was also an issue in FY '23, but in FY '25, we are still, don't have all the equipment that we need to have? Yet?
Right.
Okay, okay. For the stormwater, what is that $60, what is that the group is thinking you'll be collecting per year from the stormwater utility?
Right, so it's a user fee.
No, right,
or-
but what is the total budget for that? For the operation?
Right, so-
Charging people according to the fees as you guys have developed?
Right, so the user fees, I think the budget was around $500,000 is what we wanted to collect.
Okay, so you guys are aiming for $500,000. And right now, those two lines, how much are we using of your budget towards that $500,000 goal?
So most of the entire stormwater budget goes into that, so it's around $125,000, but we're not meeting the requirements of the permit, so,
Gotcha. So you're saying that right now we have almost $200,000 allocated, when in fact we should need 500?
right.
Okay. Staying on the stormwater, there seems to be a lot of equipment that we would need to be buying. Is that correct?
A few pieces, yeah.
A few pieces? I was just wondering if the stormwater is something similar to when we did the pavement management plan, which was we brought in a big infusion of cash to catch up with a lot of things, and then we created a smaller budget amount that was able to maintain it. So my thought here is, do we want to just do a one-time, or, I think with the pavement management plan, it was over multiple years in order to catch up. Do we want to do a catch-up, and then the maintenance is actually less than what, maybe is around how much we're actually funding right now?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Have we run the numbers that way?
I haven't run the numbers that way, but my thought is, again, we have all these projects we got to get done. So
Right.
replacing culverts is a big one. So we can use money from the stormwater utility, right? The first year, yeah, we're going to put out a lot of expense, first couple of years buying equipment. But then going forward, we can use that money for the engineering and the construction of some of these projects instead of going, asking for capital funds. I think we still need some capital funds, but the request will be smaller.
And that's, kind of what I'm thinking is, I think there's another model to explore, and I don't know if the stormwater has done that. Because, part of reducing the pavement management plan this past budget season was, you were there, and there was, the new town manager had just come, and you said, I believe we don't need to keep increasing $50,000 every year, because we have got to a point where our roads are really good, and maintenance is actually cheaper. So according to you, during budget season was, we don't need to keep increasing pavement management plan of $50,000 every year. So I think this is a result of diligent work on improving our roads over the past decade, close to, and getting to this point where we're actually spending less. So generally speaking, I would be curious to kind of explore a similar scenario before we create a whole new tax for the residents. And generally speaking, how are you planning the use of Chapter 90 on your budget?
Right, so that Chapter 90 slide showed, right, for engineering, for construction projects, and then spending some money for the construction of those, and for pavement management. Right, in the first year, you could see there's a bunch of little projects, little stormwater projects. And again, those could be picked up by the stormwater utility in the future, the small.
Right, so that's Chapter 9, and that kind of goes with my stormwater question is, if we have this money, which the state just increased it by at least a couple hundred, I think it was actually more than 300,000 this past fiscal year, and we have this infusion of cash, again, is there a scenario that we're not creating another tax on people, and is this Chapter 90 that you have presented here, does this include, is this with the Stormwater Task Force or without it?
That would be with. So just one word on the, how much Chapter 90 money we get. It's typically around $418,000. So this year.
But this year was a
they-
lot
They
more.
doubled it.
Right.
Right? But we haven't got it yet,
Right.
right? So is there a hangup? Are we going to get it next year? We don't know. So I made the assumption we're not.
Okay.
So if we are, yeah, that changes things a lot, but
So the Chapter 90 that we have here is without the increase or
I
without?
put the increase in my first year, but then subsequent years, I just left it at the 418, because that's been what it's been for about 12 years.
Gotcha.
Did you include the fair share?
That's, he said that he.
No, but the fair share was, what, only $60,000. And are we going to get that going forward? I don't know.
We were promised it when we supported millionaire's tax, right?
Question for the governor, not me.
One question I had on the analysis for outsourcing versus hiring. And one request is, can you just send along the latest spreadsheet to the FinCom at least, maybe the
Sure.
whole board? When you put in the labor on that, did you put in the burdened labor, including all healthcare and benefits?
I did,
And
yeah.
you did?
Yep.
And how are you calculating the retirement benefits?
That's part of the burden, yeah. Right, we pay so much in every week, right? So I have the total for the year. And again, I base it off of our highest paid heavy equipment operator.
Well, I was thinking of retirement, like once workers have worked for us and they retired, we still have liabilities related to them with their health insurance. So, long-term, did you use a rate for,
I didn't look at retired people, no.
You mentioned the cemetery laborer, maybe adding. And you mentioned things like cutting grass, but, I live near the South Cemetery, and a lot of those headstones are in pretty rough shape, and would this person take care of those things in addition?
So the headstones that need to be straightened, I think we have to bring in a specialty contractor for that. There's been a bunch of discussions with the Cemetery Commission on that. We got some cost estimates. So you might see some of that happening soon.
Okay, but this cemetery laborer would not do that?
I mean, they could, if it's a simple fix. Yeah, if we had more time, we could do some in-house. If they're simple fix, some of them need a little more work.
Okay.
sorry, one question that was on the other side of the page. The special truck for the icing with the brine, I don't know what the term, how much does that cost? And what is the typical savings that, Mass DOT has seen when using that versus not? Because our line for salt is, I just quickly glanced here, is about $220,000. What do you think we would be saving if we moved to that kind of treatment?
Right, so I'd have to look that up. I'm going to guess MassDOT has it on their website somewhere. If not, I can call and find out. We don't need a specialty truck per se, but we would need to retrofit our own trucks to use the liquid chemicals.
Gotcha.
The retrofit, roughly.
How much roughly? So on a sander, we're putting saddle tanks and a spray bar system. I don't know, it can't be too bad, probably $10,000, $15,000 per truck. Although I haven't looked deep into it yet.
Have we looked into some sort of regional pooling of resources? For example, the pipe inspection camera. I don't think we have the people to be running that all the time, every day of the week. And I don't think we have, well, I'm not sure. I would assume we don't have the need to be running that every day of the week. Have we looked into sharing resources, like with the pipe inspection camera or the vacuum jetter truck?
So we needed a jetter truck for a while, and we reached out to, I think, Fitchburg and Leominster, who we have intermunicipal agreements with for a sewer, and they both said, no, you can't use our truck. I guess we'd need a much more solid agreement. I think the agreements are out there, but nobody's talking about them, you know?
How often would we have to use something like the vacuum jetter truck? Is that going to be constantly in use?
No, no piece of equipment is constant in use, but the other thing, we can use it for sewer. Part of the sewer maintenance is just jetting lines as maintenance practice. You know, maybe once a week, or it'd probably go in spurts. Maybe we'd be out for a couple weeks, and it would sit for a while.
Okay, is that the kind of thing that you need as an emergency thing, so we would always have to have it on hand, or could we have some sort of resource sharing agreement with another small town nearby?
We could try an agreement with another town. Like I said, I haven't seen any successful ones.
Which is more expensive, buying the jetter truck or the legal work to create a document that would allow for sharing between municipalities?
Again, I'd have to do the analysis. My gut tells me it's probably cheaper to, you know, do an agreement with another town or two.
On the snow removal savings, did you factor in increased wear on our vehicles for that?
Yeah, part of the analysis was the operating cost.
Okay. Because I noticed on your maintenance, you kept that as a level funding. And if we start to use the trucks for snow removal, that's probably the heaviest wear that they would see. And then we have increased amount of vehicles as well through those years. So I would just be concerned with that level fund of the maintenance if we go through with all of that.
Yeah. Again, well, we will have newer trucks, right? So we have 2 new ones now and 2 new ones coming in. They won't need bigger repairs like the 2 older trucks. Yeah, the repairs tend to be bigger. So the newer trucks, for the next few years, I don't see us putting too much money into them for repairs.
Okay.
I'll set them up. Go ahead, Jen.
So, Bill, I'm going to put you on the spot here for a second. So, just for clarity, because I think everybody in the room has this, but so the MS4 permit, this is not something new. We are in year 7 of the permit, and we have been paying for it out of operations. And setting up a stormwater utility is a method to address these costs. So, Bill, do you know, for smaller municipalities especially, but, you know, not necessarily, for communities that aren't going to bring it in-house and they still need to achieve compliance, how are they doing the annual inspections and the repairs and the annual cleanings that need, the catch basin cleanings? How are they keeping, if you don't have your own catch basin truck and you don't have your own staff, how are they keeping up with MS4 requirements without having it done in-house? Sorry,
Right.
you're on the spot.
No, that's fine. So they're using operational funds, right? They're hiring engineers to do the inspections, and they're hiring companies to do the sweeping and the catch basin cleaning, and they're hiring companies to replace culverts. But I don't know if too many towns, nobody's bragging about, 100% compliance with the permit. A lot of towns are struggling with it.
Jen, can I ask, are there regional stormwater utilities that are trying to work together? Because
No, so each municipality is required to have, Bill, please jump in if I say anything wrong. Each municipality is required to have their own permit, so the permit is specific. So a utility is specific for that municipality. I have not heard of any intermunicipal agreements specific around stormwater and sharing the labor, so to speak. I would contemplate that if we were going to have a true intermunicipal agreement, that it would be beyond just the sharing of the trucks. Typically, with an intermunicipal agreement, you're sharing the people as well, and you're sharing the costs of the people. So we would be likely sharing the truck, the operator, and the operator's health insurance and retirement, and whoever the host community is. You take the whole split. It's not just borrowing the truck. So it's that going towards an intermunicipal agreement, maybe if there was one available, it would alleviate us needing to bring this in-house, but it doesn't necessarily alleviate the costs, and it doesn't alleviate the requirements.
Thank you.
Anything else for Bill? All right, we want to thank you for your presentation. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Bill.
All right,
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
now we're going to move on. Next piece of business on the agenda is facilities.
Oh, he's last.
Whoa.
Talk to the facilities guy about that.
Unplug it now.
Yeah, really. Yeah, maybe, huh?
What about? What's that? Anything fun? No thoughts?
No.
All right, whenever you're ready, go right ahead.
Just waiting for Jen to get it up on the
Getting it up, okay. You are? No surprise.
How do I tell it to stop? Tell it to split screen.
Chris, can I ask you a question before you start? I looked at your presentation a little bit. It would be helpful as a school committee member to just be reminded on what your area of what you're actually overseeing, right? Like what buildings, what park stuff, just because I don't actually even know that.
I actually pulled the slide out, just trying to make it quicker for tonight.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
I can run through it.
Yeah, I just find, because police makes sense, like what the police do versus I just want to make sure I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, the scope.
Yeah, the scope. That's the word I'm looking for.
All right, well, I'll throw that in there before.
Yeah, you can
the
just
slide
give us
here.
a verbal. It's
So-
just.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris Ruth. I'm the facilities director for the town side. That means I'm responsible for all of the town buildings with the town hall, Ritter, teen center, senior center, library, Brooks House and TCP. The town now controls the public safety building, all of the parks grounds, basically everything but high school, middle school, and Turkey Hill.
Okay. Cemetery.
And cemetery. So if we want to jump down to the first graph here, one more, please.
But not maintenance, because the highway department does the maintenance of the cemetery, right?
The cemetery is entirely separate from us.
Okay.
So this is just a graph kind of showing you where our costs landed for FY '26. Obviously salaries is a big chunk, and that encompasses myself and my 2 staff members. The other 2 large lines are the contracted services and the purchase of service. Contracted service is more your regular maintenance of come in and service HVAC units and generators and that type of stuff. Purchase of service is more of unforeseen repairs and, when we have the funding available, upgrades. If you jump to the next slide, Jen. So this is the breakdown for FY '27. The big change here is we are now absorbing into this budget all of the costs related to the TC Passios building. And I'll go into that in some detail a little later on. Our next slide here is the same thing, but for the park side. This was our FY '26 budget. The vast majority of it is our purchase of service line, which everything falls under that between regular maintenance and repairs. If we jump to FY '27, you'll see a slight increase there. Part of that reasoning is, right now, if I do my landscaping maintenance as it should be done, it basically eats up my entire budget, leaving no room at all for repairs of any kind. Next slide here, just a quick overview of where we currently are in FY '26. We're about a quarter of the way through the year. Some of these numbers reflect, percentages reflect that, some don't. Some are one-time costs, obviously heating fuel we haven't used any of yet because we're just not into that season. Hopefully we don't be for a little while. So we'll go into our budget changes for FY '27. So I'm just going to kind of hit the highlights here. The electricity charges are going up quite a bit. Part of that is because we are taking on the electricity costs for the TC Passios building. We are trying to decommission the building, so we're hoping some of the costs come down. Electrical is not one we're anticipating will be lowered. The next big jump you will see on there is heating fuel for natural gas. That jump is entirely TC Passios. In the past years, we've been running about $45,000 for a gas bill in that building. We're decommissioning by the square footage about half of the building. We're shutting the heat off, everything off. So right now I'm projecting about half of the gas cost. The numbers aren't truly half because now that we're using less gas, they actually gave us a rate increase.
Sorry, can I ask, was the schools paying the electrical and the heating before? I didn't think we were.
It was a TCP revolving account, and the building never really had a budget. It kind of, at the end of the year, they robbed Peter to pay Paul from whichever accounts had extra, and that's how it was run for quite some time.
Okay, so did the rent we paid went into the revolving account?
It did.
Okay.
And it was about $27,000 was the rent that came from the extended day program. So for FY '26, that got added into my budget at the end to help cover some of the maintenance costs, but that's also intended to cover, it's nowhere near enough because there was no home for the utilities costs, basically, for FY '26.
The other thing is, if we recall, I think it was last year that, I think it was the temporary town manager, we had a line item to close the deficit. I think it was in special town meeting.
Yeah,
We
that-
had,
that was-
that account was like 90,000 the negative as a revolving fund account. Then we did a one-time, paying to balance that account.
So what line item did TCP electricity and water come out of?
So it's similar to what was happening with the athletic fund, is that the town technically has cash to support some negative. So I don't know, because I wasn't in the finance committee, I don't know how long that account was running on the negative, but I know Carter, when he came in, he set that straight, and what we did to get that account to zero was to put in about 90,000.
Okay.
At that time, the account was in the negative of 90,000.
Okay, so it's increasing the budget for facilities, but it's not that we're paying significantly more.
Yeah, the overall cost for the town is about the same. It's just actually putting it into a budget so we can see it and track it.
That's, okay.
Chris, do you know what the deficit was this year?
It wasn't clean, but it was still around that. We were hovering around $100,000 deficit for the last 3 years.
Per year.
Yep,
For that building.
yes.
Yeah.
And this removes,
And I want to second Laura. Every revolving account should have a budget, and all of them, and that's it.
I think the TCP was kind of the redheaded stepchild that nobody wanted to, the school was using it, but they didn't want to waste money because that takes away from the other buildings. And so it's been long overdue to take care of this. Obviously, the water and sewer usage fees will go up. Rubbish removal has gone up a little overall for the town buildings, as well as taking on TCP. The facility salary I have right now as, you know, kind of the standard 2.5 increase, but my 2 staff members for facilities fall within the DPW union. And at the moment, my shared admin comes completely out of the DPW budget, not mine. And part of that is because facilities used to be part of DPW until about 3 years ago when it was split off. The other thing that comes out of Bill's budget, not mine, is my 2 guys' trucks, because when it snows, my guys switch over to be DPW employees and plow.
Does their salary stay within your budget?
The regular salary does, but any overtime related to snow does not.
Okay. Good resource sharing.
The DPW and facilities work pretty closely together, so. The next line you'll see as a jump is our regular contracted services line. This is, again, was the standard maintenance. Part of this is there are things that are not being properly maintained. You know, we have contracts to maintain generators in town, but it's really only one of the 3 generators is being properly maintained. So it's stuff like that. Purchase of service I've also increased by 10,000, and part of that is just the cost of everything are going through the roof, and it's not, construction items are not staying with the rest of the economy. It's skyrocketing.
Chris, can you differentiate for me what is the difference between contracted services and purchase of services?
So the contracted services is regular maintenance agreements. So that's we have a company that comes in and monitors the controls for the HVAC, they service units, it's the generator, it's the landscaping costs for the town fall under that one.
Got
It's
it.
all regular planned costs that we know.
Okay.
And then purchase of services, whatever breaks or whatever we can afford to upgrade at the end of the year.
Okay.
The next one is contracted cleaning services. I actually put the budget back to what it was in FY '25. We lowered it a little in FY '26. We had a bit of a debacle with our cleaning contractor, so I put it back to the 86,000 that it was at, which I think will cover us for the next couple of years. We have the TCP expense line that we talked about. That was the 27,000 that we put back in to make up for the loss of rent from the extended day program leaving. And then, let's see, departmental expenses changed for the most part. I rounded that up by $8. Teen center expenses, I creeped up just a little, again, due to costs of all the maintenance and stuff. Custodial supplies, I jumped up $1,800, and that's just because we've been running over the last couple of years. The building maintenance supplies, that one jumped a little bit, but that one takes on some of our Mackey's and Home Depot bills for repairs, and we've been, again, going over on that one consistently. The uniform allowance I didn't touch, but that could change based off of a union negotiation. And then the sewer betterment fee it is what it is for the year. Luckily, we only have, I believe, one more year of the sewer betterment we have to pay.
I have a question. The numbers that you have here for prior years, are these budget or actual?
Those are budget numbers.
Okay. So we don't know how the expenses landed in the end of the year?
No, that would be a much longer meeting, because at the end of the year, we move money all over the place. So to actually track that down and make it really coherent would take a little bit of time. If you guys want to meet separately and look at those, I'd be happy to put something together, but.
Well, I don't think it's that much long, like there is a report that's actual from prior years. I'm simply asking to know what I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
But I
right now,
think
these are budget numbers, not actuals.
for the prior years.
Yes.
Yeah. And generally speaking, I'm speaking for myself, I rather see actuals from prior years. That's how I'm used to seeing some other reports. Just makes it easier to, especially in a quick presentation.
I can put something together. I'll just have to figure out.
I would say like going forward, whatever you have.
And some of these years as well, I was not here for, so.
Right. And that's why I think, looking at actuals would help us form the idea of what we're doing for the new years.
Next slide we'll jump to, just goes to the parks changes. This one, I had the projections in this one as well, but for FY '27, I left the salary for our recreation director alone. For those of you who don't know, our recreation director has resigned and we don't currently have one. So until we hire a new person, I don't know where that salary is going to land. Beach salary went up by $1,000. We've been consistently running over a little bit. The beach hours vary from year to year. I mean, this week we were only shut down for a week due to bacteria. Last year we were shut down for 2. So it varies every year and a lot of it's out of our control.
This has FY '29, the salary for the rec director jumps up. Is that considering moving to a full-time position in FY '29?
That is the goal at some point, yes, is to go to a full-time.
It's interesting, though, because I noticed the purchase of service goes down a lot when you do that. Is that because right now the rec director is?
Nope, that's missing a 0.
No.
Okay,
Nope.
never mind then.
Nope, the goal for the purchase of service is to get us to about $100,000 for the parks. Right now, bare minimum landscaping, to do it correctly, is about $60,000. And that doesn't include repairing plow damage, it's very bare minimum. The landscapers we had before the current contract were way underpriced, and we got the way underpriced service. The departmental expenses, I didn't change on that, it stays pretty steady. And then the only other increase was the programming line, which is the recreation department uses that for some of the programs that we don't charge residents for.
So purchase of service includes mostly landscaping, or are there other?
It's landscaping repairs. We don't have it broken out in the parks budget at the moment, mainly because it basically all goes to the same place. As the increases go, I'm going to start breaking it out just to track it better.
Okay. Who does Kids Kingdom?
Kids Kingdom technically still falls under the school department.
Okay. When there's a repair to the playground, that's us? Okay, that's what I just wanted to.
It depends on what it is. Certain things we'll take care of, certain things, and you guys obviously had a lack of facilities directors in and out for a little while, so we kind of jumped in on some of that stuff.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, that's good cooperation. But Kids Kingdom is still us?
As of right now, yes.
Okay.
Can I ask about the beach staff? I'm curious about 25 grand a year for the beach staff. That's got to be more than one person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's quite a few people, actually.
What do people pay for swimming lessons? Does that go towards this?
It goes back into the revolving account that helps manage this.
Manage this.
I don't
So
remember.
this is just budget, this money that's being pictured here is not any of the revolving account money?
It's not, no.
So the salary, I just know this because.
Yeah, because you used to.
Right. Yeah, that's not all of the beach salary.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
curious how,
yeah.
I haven't gone there in a while with my kids, but I know that there's, they do swimming lessons that are quite popular.
Yeah, but the
and-
swimming lessons, it's the revenue from swimming lessons. So the revolving account takes those.
Yep.
The memberships and all, and then when it pays out for, anything, so those payments don't reflect in here.
Yeah. I just think in general, something we've talked about at the school committee is I find it confusing when we're only looking at money that comes from the general fund, not
Right.
revolving funds and grants. And I know that's a large ask, but I just think that's.
Not really, I fully agree with you. We
I
should
just think
have
for the
one
public.
pager.
Yeah, I just think for the public and for us as well, it's difficult for us to tease out sometimes. And this is not about you. This is just about in general, I think.
Yeah. I think we need to have a one-pager of all expenses and another pager with
Right.
all the revenue being used to support the operations that we
Exactly.
receive.
Grants, and I know that you can't always count on grants, but at least some estimates and things like that. Because
Well, I mean,
certain ones you can count on.
you can, yeah, I think there is.
So we're on
there's
the
a
same
better
page.
way-
I
feel
Yes,
like you're
I think
preaching
there's
to
a
the
better way
choir,
to.
Tell.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
we're talking about the same thing. So yeah, that's why I'm.
You're agreeing.
Yeah,
So the real beach staff expenses is higher?
is much higher than that. Okay.
And again, it's seasonal. It's only during the summer when school's out.
Yeah.
And it's, mostly high school kids. It's quite a bit lower grade.
And I must say, I know that the cost has gone up on the landscaping, but as a parent of kids who play baseball, this year was much better with the mowing. So I really, really do appreciate that because the last vendor,
The last vendor was,
it was less than ideal for the kids during baseball season.
that is one of the perks to being able to hire a contractor that's in town.
A local
'Cause
person,
They
yes.
actually care.
Yeah.
They've gone above and beyond giving us free stuff, I would
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we've been pushing, like, and I say this from when I was in the Parks Commission, and I know they continue. I mean, you can see how the past few years, we have increased that line, and that has always been a Parks Commission request. And you know, and I would be curious to look at actuals, although I do think that the facilities took over parks around 22, 23, because for the longest time, that money assigned to parks was not spent in parks.
Yeah.
And that's because we didn't have a designated person to run it. And guess what? If there is something happening in the streets, the former DPW director had bigger priorities than keeping the parks nice and neat. So there was a strategic decision on creating this department and putting some revenue there, and I think that has gotten better. But yeah, for many years, that line was not properly managed, which leads into parks not being well maintained.
Yeah.
Chris, can I assume the 29 projection for purchase of service should be 100,000?
Yes, yeah, I missed a zero there.
Okay.
And just, the swim lessons were just, or the beach passes were just under 9,000 in revenue, and the swim lessons were about 3,500.
Okay,
I love that you had that right there.
thank you.
Let me see if anything on this I didn't touch. So one thing in the budget changes is the TCP costs. So we expected the gas to go down. The electric, we're not expecting to really drop at all. There's less use in the building, but I believe that the major electrical draw in the building right now is actually the food pantry. This sucks up quite a bit of juice just to run those refrigerators in there.
So all that expense, would you say, isn't like 27,000? If you think it's coming from the food pantry?
So the equipment they have in there, if I go just off what the equipment is rated for, it would be about $26,000 for the year. We did some testing, and right now we're bouncing between 21 to 17,000 a year, depending on air conditioning, because they have air conditioning in that area.
Would you say 21 to?
17 to 21.
Okay.
Is the
Yep.
AC controlled in their space only, or is it controlled through the entire?
There's no AC in the building besides that room.
There's a
It's all
mini,
window
there are
units.
mini
They're
splits
little
in the
individual
windows.
units.
They're units.
Just as we have, just thought for the future, just as we have a line designated for the
Teen Center.
the teen center, because it's a specific use, right? When we put that line of electricity going under TCP, but there is one user, I don't know if there is a way to break it out, because that's part of that.
It is, the problem with showing it directly is that space isn't sub-metered. It was never designed to be a separate area. So, this was taking apart plugs while things are running to calculate what they're actually using. But what they're using varies day to day based off of the temperature inside the room, the temperature outside. So without actually spending some serious money on electrical, it'd be very difficult to track day to day. I just think it's important to understand the largest cost drivers. The heat in the building is, the boilers are oversized, so there's some waste there, but part of that is because the boilers at a TCP used to heat the old high school.
Yep,
So, it's,
which we just finished paying a few years ago.
so there's
Long gone.
a lot of waste in that building.
And Chris, you can't control the heat in that building, right?
Yes and no. It works based off of the local thermostats, but we can't talk to the control system anymore because it's so old. As part of our decommissioning, we're going to upgrade that so we can at least, because right now if one boiler goes down, it's all hands on deck to physically change wiring to turn the other one on. It's been tested, it runs, but nothing tells it to turn on. So,
Are we expecting less in electrical and heating costs with the decommissioning of a large portion of the building?
I'm projecting almost a 50% reduction in the gas cost, but the electrical, I think, is going to remain fairly.
Because the same users are mostly in there, and
And we have additional users now which are paying some rent to offset that I have in a lower slide here. I think the rest of these items we had talked about.
Where does the decommissioning come in on your budget
The
line?
decommissioning is a capital item,
Okay,
so it's separate from the operating budget.
I just was curious, thank you.
Um,
But you guys are doing that in-house, or are we?
Well, we're subbing it out, but,
Okay.
you know, we just had the asbestos abatement done to get to the pipes we need to start shutting stuff down, and unfortunately, the building was cut up and changed so many times that any plans that we have are useless. The biggest thing is, once we decommission it, the back half of the building, we can start asbestos abatement. And it doesn't matter when we decide to do it, it has to be done no matter what. So whatever it costs today, it will cost you more tomorrow. So the thought was, with half that building shut down, we can get half that cost taken care of, and then at that point, there's a big empty shell, and the town can make a decision about what we do with it.
Chris, can you just, because I know, sorry to interrupt, I know that there's a lot of talk in the community that we shouldn't spend any money until we know what we're doing. But if the decision was made to either retrofit TCP or tear down TCP, or any combination in between, that asbestos needs to get abated nonetheless.
Yep.
We still have to do it.
There is no way around it. We own it cradle to grave. So we can take care of it now, or we can wait 10 years and the price will be double. You know, and that building, the plaster in the ceilings, all of the floor tiles, it's all over the place. Every piece of pipe in the building is wrapped in it. Luckily, the only place where there isn't a ton of it is the roof, which is strange.
I have a, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
I just have a question about the utilities in the food pantry. I think, I am not an expert in this area, but I'm just throwing it out there. There may be some grants available to help offset costs of food pantries or.
Yep. And I'm not
nonprofit
advocating
type.
for kicking them out by any
Yeah.
means. I think they provide a wonderful service.
But I'm just wondering if that could balance out that $26,000 a year in some way.
It certainly could. It's something we're going to have to talk with the food pantry folks about. I don't know all of their funding sources, you know, they're not actually associated with us.
Right.
It's not,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be applying for the grant.
Right, I was just, if they could, or had someone that knew what they were doing to do that, then wouldn't that take the cost off the town as well?
They're not paying the cost currently, so it's not, you'd be asking them to go out and apply for a grant and do work on something that they're not seeing. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really, I mean, we certainly could, right? But it's not impacting them per se right now. So there's no real impetus for them to go and aggressively track down grants.
Yeah.
And I've
I'll
had,
look into though.
I've had a preliminary conversation with them, and I think they kind of are aware that this was coming.
No, I
I
said the
spent a lot of
impetus
time
is
there, I
they
was
get,
just wondering, that's all.
I mean, they get rent-free use of a building.
Yeah.
As does the teen center, including trash and everything else, and it's written right into the contract that way. So I think they should be looking for grants to help with that cost, if it's available.
I was just putting it out there. I'm not
No, it's a
saying they
great
should.
point.
I was just
We-
kind of
we would
more like,
probably have
I don't really know a lot about that, but I'm pretty sure there are, so I didn't know how, I'm unaware of how to go about that, so happy to talk to the food pantry.
And all of their equipment is new, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, you know, everything in there is Energy Star, and it's just,
It's a lot.
it's part of the,
I'm just thinking about if whatever happens to TC Passios, we need the food pantry, so we have to either figure out how to help them stay or how we can help them move somewhere else in another municipal building that's not being used. I don't know.
I
I'm a
agree.
big
Their numbers have been
supporter.
steadily climbing from what I've been told.
Yeah.
You know, I think I heard 800 families last
Yeah.
month.
I
So-
go there often and help, so I know there's a lot of people that are benefiting from it, so I just
Yep.
putting it out there, that's all.
What are we looking at for the asbestos abatement costs now? Or for the half of the building that's decommissioned, I guess?
I have not estimated yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see $1 million.
Did you say 2
I
million?
meant 1 million. But it's, again, I have to get estimates of, you know, the flooring of each room, and, you know, I have the overall report, but we have not fully vetted out the cost for the abatement in there yet, at least for that portion.
Are you asking for that in capital funds, or what are you?
If I can get it together in time, I probably will, but yes.
Okay.
I think this next slide here, actually, I think we got to jump 2 or 3 here, Jen. We kind of bounced around a little bit.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
Oh, you jumped too far then.
Where do you want me to go?
The one that says the TCP budget.
This?
No, it's a chart.
I think it's next.
15.
That one
Right there.
there.
So this one just kind of shows you kind of the historical cost, again, the rounded numbers versus, what's baked into our budget now. So before, we were hovered around 26 to 30 for the electrical. I have 26 for this year, and a lot of it is, as we're closing it down, we're going to get a better idea of where the numbers land. We're just starting that process. You see I lowered the gas by almost half. Water and sewer, I'm anticipating going down a little bit just because there's fewer users in the building, but there still are users. Trash is staying the same. Currently, we don't have the phones set up in the building. No one's using the phone system. The internet is a cost that we've taken on and is fairly substantial. I didn't realize how much commercial internet cost, but it's about $518 a month.
Who uses it?
Yeah, who's using there?
It's in there mainly for PAC because their studio's in there. That being said, the rec department, when they use the space over there, jump onto the system, but the main need for it was PAC, and if I add the electronic lock system to one of the doors there, it needs a network connection for that to operate. Below is just kind of the list of the regular maintenance that's been happening in the building. One that may jump out at you is the landscaping costs. As part of the school vacating the building, they're staying in the garage space through FY26, and in return for that, they are taking care of the plowing and landscaping through FY26. But after that, we will have to pick that up.
And you're estimating that should be 15,000?
A rough estimate between mowing, landscaping, and then DPW would pick up the plowing, just get added to one of my guys' routes of, and again, there's less use in the building, so it's not like it needs to be open when the rest of the schools are. It's, and the reason the school stayed in there is their other garage doesn't have heat, so.
Thank you.
The next slide, if you can, Jen. So this one is just talking about the revenue we're currently getting for the building. PAC pays us. The food pantry we talked about is in there for free at the moment. And we're currently renting 4 of the classrooms to the Shapiro School next door that they used. Started out as just a summer rental. They've loved the space, so right now they're hanging onto those 4 classrooms, and I'll take it because it's offsetting some of our costs, which is great.
Are they using it for offices, or do they have kids in those?
They have kids in the space with their staff there. Some other rental.
That pretty much replaces the money from the school, right?
No,
That's 24,000.
No, yeah, it probably does offset some of it, yeah.
I think they're not leasing for the year at this point.
Right now, they're hanging on to it for the moment, so we'll see how long
Right.
it stays. And again, that's one of those, the roof on the building was rated for 20 years, and it's 40 years old. So at some point, there's going to be some issues. I mean, someone made a comment to me last year about how we did such a great job with stopping the leaks, and it was a drought. We had nothing to do with it. Some other revenue sources we have are from renting out the gym. There's a pickleball group in there that get around $4,000 a year on average that goes back towards the building, as well as the futsal program, which, to be honest, I have no idea what that actually is. I think it's some kind of soccer.
It's indoor soccer on a basketball court. My kids play.
They do it in the gym?
Yeah, we are with like a club. It's not really a club. It's like parents who've organized a group that practice there a few times a week.
That gym's an important asset in town. We do not have a ton of gyms in town, especially because we have in this town, we have a combined high school, middle school, and whereas other towns would have one high school, one middle school, and 2 gyms. We combined it. So TCP fills a pretty important need. And it's during the day, we can have adults using it, like the pickleball, without having adults walking through the school.
And the Shapiro folks that are in there have quite a bit of staff, so it's not like there's kids wandering around the building. They're almost a one-to-one over there.
So what will happen when we're shutting part of TC?
They're in the part that's not getting shut down.
So right now,
What do they use?
right now, everyone has already moved out of the area that's being decommissioned. The only thing that's left is some of our town files. Not many.
Yeah. The extended day was? Yeah.
The other main users of the group are the teen center, and the rec department uses that space. And the rec department typically doesn't make a whole lot of money off of their programming. So money from that doesn't go back into TCP, but they handle the rentals of the space, and all that money is going back into the TCP budget.
Now, is the asbestos still in the area where Shapiro and Pack are?
Yes, it's throughout the entire school. The majority of it is in the floor tiles. If you ever walk through an old building, you see floor tiles that are 8 by 8 inches as opposed to the 1 by 1s. It's almost a guarantee that they're asbestos.
It's vinyl asbestos tile, floor stuff,
Like, what kind of liability do we have for letting kids?
it's non-friable.
What?
It's non-fri, right? I
Yeah,
think
it's,
non-friable.
like, there's a room in the area that's getting decommissioned that's been closed off because it's crumbling. If it's not getting into the air, there's no issues at all.
Like, the tiles are fine until they start chipping, and then it goes in the air.
And to be honest, what causes the biggest damage is roof leaks. Because the water sits there over the weekend, the tiles start to curl up and pop, and then that's when it becomes an issue.
I have bad news about that.
There's always bad news about leaks over there. If you want to jump 2 slides there, Jen. I'm kind of going back a little bit, but this is just showing the, my facility's anticipated changes through FY '29. Not a whole lot of changes there. It's really increasing the hours for the rec director, adding a part-time admin for myself, and then we'd already talked about increasing the parks budget. So it was really just, the standard 2.5 stuff, and then the 2 employees that we were trying to get more hours. Or 1 more hours and a new position.
Why is generator fuel a new line in FY '26?
FY '26, yeah. We never actually had a line to break out when we fill the generators.
What are the generators?
The public safety building has a generator, senior center has a generator, and TCP has a generator.
Okay.
Now, if we don't have any significant power outages, it's their weekly exercise, it really doesn't use much fuel. If we have any power outages, then they chew through some fuel pretty fast when you're powering. TCP doesn't power the whole building, but the public safety and the senior center will power the whole building.
TCP has a generator?
It does.
Has it always had a generator? Okay.
Right over by the garage.
Okay.
It's,
So if power goes out, the food pantry won't lose, does it still power the food pantry?
I don't know 100% which circuits it powers, but if it needed to, we could get them up and running during an emergency. It may not be pretty, but if we had to, we could get it done.
Okay.
And that was really the bulk of it. We jumped around a little bit, so if anyone has questions.
Thank you.
I think they asked their questions as you went along, which was wonderful.
Works for me.
Yep.
If anyone's a Red Sox fan, we're up 2-1 in the eighth.
Who does,
Sorry.
can I ask a question?
I had to look.
Who does the custodial for TCP now? Because that had been us, and we were able to cut that position.
At the moment, Shapiro's taking care of it from their area and the bathrooms that they're using. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of use in the building. And part of the reason that whole thing happened the way it did is because we had a debacle with the cleaners that I would prefer not to get into in an open meeting.
Okay, so like the entrance area, and is Shapiro kind of doing that, or?
That main entrance right now, it actually isn't being used at all. Shapiro's using that side ramp entrance because they're in that wing.
Oh, yeah,
So,
and I guess,
and it kind of keeps them separated from the rest of the building.
okay. And the food pantry takes care of their own cleaning?
Yeah, I mean, they're not in there enough to have, they take care of inside of the food pantry, they always have. And the bathroom usage, they're there for
Yeah.
a couple hours a day, so it's it's really minimal.
Okay.
You know, same thing with PAC is, they're here right now. You know, they're not in the studio, so they bounce around to the different buildings quite a bit.
Thanks, Chris. Very informative. Yep. All right, and the chief's over there, two chiefs.
All right, I'm going to stand up.
Our first meeting, we let you go first, and we sent you home early, so.
Yes.
Well, we were discussing travel distance. Chris and I, it's kind of a flip a coin, so.
Okay.
All right, are you gonna have a district just read on me? Because it's not a town. It's not the same as town. But it's a number. I did see why.
You're going to present from there, Chief?
Yes, I'm going to.
Okay, I just want to make sure that.
Microphone working, as far as you can tell.
They'll pop out the door if there's a problem.
I usually use my outdoor voice anyway.
All right.
All right, good evening. Again, this budget would be going out for next year. So as most of you have heard, we've discussed trying to add staff for the fire department to improve our coverage. So the proposed budget would be for staffing myself, the administrative assistant, going from 3 career officers to 4 career officers, maintain our 5 on-call officers, going from 6 to 8 career firefighter paramedics, and then again maintaining the 30-some-odd call firefighters and EMTs. So the structure of the department would basically look like that. It's adding 1 shift of an officer and 2 firefighter paramedics. So instead of a 3-shift system, we would be a 4-shift system. Other than that, there's no real change to the structure of the department. Just, again, to kind of touch base on what we do for our call volume, that's our breakdown of runs in 2024. Obviously, a big part of our job is EMS calls. Right now, we're on track to meet the same number or exceed it for this year, at least in emergency calls. Again, I've showed the next slide a couple times, just kind of shows our call progression over the years. In the last few years, again, we've seen an increase in EMS calls. They've stayed sort of level, but they also have not dropped off. And this goes right along with development and housing in town. The more people we have, the more EMS calls we're going to see. And as I'll talk about later on, again, we're still looking at more development in town, potential another 55 complex, possibly another big housing development that's still in the works out there somewhere. You know, everybody always worries about the impact of schools with kids. It impacts fire too, especially with an aging population. We see more EMS calls. So you go to the next slide. And I just kind of touch on this. I've used this slide before too. This is kind of the effects of the new growth in the developments in town, not only the multifamilies, but the large developments of the single-family homes too, around town. And again, this is just to illustrate the increase in calls for EMS. We have more people, more EMS calls. Fire calls usually kind of level off. The inspections drop off as the buildings are built, don't require inspections as much unless they're single-family homes and they're selling. Next slide. So budget summary, to touch on it, the addition of a 4th career shift, moving the staff to a 42-hour week, hiring 3 additional firefighter paramedics, and promoting 1 existing person to career lieutenant. This takes our career coverage out to 7 days a week, instead of having 1 day that we are covering with part-time per diem staff. That per diem staff would be adjusted to hopefully add a 4th person 16 hours a day through the weeks. So we could staff either both ambulances, or if 1 ambulance is out, we have at least 2 people back in the station. It's not a lot, but it's at least enough to get a truck on the road. There also are some increases in the operating budget that I'll talk about for EMS supply and capital replacement, and radio and vehicle maintenance. Some of these lines have not changed in 10 or 15 years, and that while our costs have gone up. So salary. Again, the increase here in the salary is approximately $221,088.35. This is based on 3 Step 2 firefighter paramedics, and 1 existing firefighter medic being promoted to lieutenant. All these numbers, unless I mention otherwise, are based on our current firefighters collective bargaining agreement with their yearly salaries. They are coming into year 3 of their contract, the last year, so negotiations will be happening, which could change some things a little bit one way or the other, but these are the numbers that I based them on now for currently. So career overtime would increase by a little over $80,000. That's based on an increase in the average overtime rate for everybody. It's based on additional estimated time off for the new staff. They get vacation time, they get some personal time. We budget in some sick time, callback. So there's a base number to work with there. Plus, with the change in the work week, the overtime rate will increase somewhat. This number also covers that for the existing staff. Also, for salaries, is call, fire, and EMS salary. That is unchanged at this time. We have not changed that in a while. That covers the callback for our call firefighters and EMTs, and it also covers the per diem staffing, which is currently 96 hours a week. Onto the other, if we get the new schedule, that would probably increase to about 112 hours a week, which we can probably handle over that. Traditionally, we run a little under on call firefighter salary because it's highly subjective, depending on how many people we get back, how many calls that we have to call people back for. This past year, we saw a lot more fire activity in the fall, so we used a little bit more money. The overtime usually runs a little over, and we make up the difference here within the budget, so we stay within budget. Holiday pay, whoops, sorry. I didn't say Simon Says. Holiday pay would be an increase of a little over $22,000, and that's basically the holiday pay coverage for 3 additional staff and the anticipated increase in the hourly rate, average hourly rate for the overtime. Also under salaries, there is, now you can go, is training. We carry just under $61,000 in training. We do usually run under in this. The primary, or the big chunk of this part was to train new paramedics, covering their shifts while they're in school, things like that. We have not had to train a new paramedic in 2 years. That said, I would anticipate in the hiring process of trying to get 3 new firefighter medics, I would be shocked if we got 3. I would anticipate we would be sending at least 1 to school for it. So again, some of this covers that. This is also includes our call firefighter training, which is every other Monday night. It includes coverage for people attending classes, other training. The job is very intensive. So again, the number can go up and down on what we actually spend.
So just a question, the 60,000 is not including training for the 4th shift?
It would absorb any training that would be involved with them. If we had to send someone from paramedic school, it would definitely involve that.
So would it be more than 60?
No.
Or would it be 60?
No.
Okay.
I don't anticipate a change in that number, even with hiring the 3 people.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So, like I say, we've been running under on that line because we have not had to train somebody. If we have to train somebody, we will use all of that. So, just some other items in, next. Sorry. Just other items to quickly touch on in the salary budgets for us. They're contractual items. My salary, longevity for the career staff, which the new people wouldn't get because they haven't been here long enough. There would be an additional $3,300 for clothing allowance for the 3 new staff. And then administrative stipends for people that perform functions for the department. Our ALS and EMS coordinators, the training coordinator, fire prevention officers, and the SAFE coordinator. Those are all contractual. At this time, don't see any major change in those, but again, those are subject to bargaining. So total increases on the salary side would be $327,000 in the hiring and the increases in the overtime lines. The estimate is $137,269 for all of the OPEB costs as developed by the HR director or the payroll and benefits coordinator and the finance director. That's based on worst-case scenarios for the top-end insurance family plan. Again, that's probably a worst-case number, could be less. So the total increase on that end, as I've mentioned before, would be a little over $464,000.
So, just to clarify, these are increases if we start the fourth shift?
Correct.
Okay. If we don't, do we have the numbers?
They would be,
Like the 2%?
I have a budget, I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
It would be not too much different than what it is this year.
Except that we have to.
We'd be bargaining.
And that was going to be my next question. So this would be for FY '27. When is the bargaining to start in FY '27 or '28? It wasn't clear in the dates for me. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be bargaining for July 1st. I'm expecting the letter anytime now.
For July 1st of 2027?
To July 1st of calendar year 2026.
Right. Their contract expires June of next year, so.
Gotcha.
And that, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts as part of all of this. So, on expense side, there's some incremental increases. Next slide. It's generally level funded, except for some increases in EMS maintenance and equipment, capital replacement equipment for fire, radio maintenance, and vehicle maintenance. Vehicle maintenance budget, we have our own budget, but it also isn't sort of tied in with the highway department. There's a request for an increase of $12,000 in supplies. This covers things like medication, oxygen, disposable supplies, and maintenance of equipment, which we've seen a significant increase on. A lot of the medical equipment, as we've gone to the paramedic level, the stuff has to be inspected every year. It has to be serviced every year. One of the service plans has gone up about $6,000 on us. The cost has run above our expectations since we started going paramedic, from a combination of the increased call volume and that we're just doing more paramedic level calls. The fact that we have the paramedics available, the people are getting treated at that level instead of calling from another town, either not having them available or putting them available because of a lower acuity, keeping them available for something more serious. Like I said, the annual maintenance agreements have gone up significantly, and it's just trying to move the budget in line with what our expenses are. The last couple of years, we've been moving money around within the budget from other lines, covering those expenses. We have lines in the budget to cover not the physical paramedic training, but things like tuition for the program, materials, stuff like that, that again, we haven't used, and that's been supplementing this. And again, that could change if we actually have to send somebody to school.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I'm curious about insurance, and does the town bill insurance when
Oh, absolutely.
the ambulance comes? Like, how does that work? I'm just curious.
We bill, we went
Do
up
you have
on
like a billing person, or I?
No,
is
we
this
have,
like
we
a
have,
very-
we contract with a company.
Okay.
That does the billing for us.
And so, how do we set our rates?
The rates were updated about a year ago, putting us mid to upper range based on the communities around the area.
Okay.
The challenge that we face is 2/3 of our transports are Medicare, Medicaid, Mass Health, which means we have to accept those rates,
You have to
which are a fraction of what we bill.
Okay.
And those reimbursement rates have been going down and will probably go down more if you follow anything with the news. And that, which is our challenge, is always our challenge. As I always said, we're not a private ambulance. We're not here to make a profit.
Yeah.
We're to offset our costs. We're here to provide a service to the community.
Thank you. I just was.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Capital replacement equipment, next slide. Capital replacement equipment is hardware, firefighting equipment, hose, nozzles, tools, thermal imaging cameras, fire extinguishers, as opposed to protective equipment, which is firefighting gear, helmets, boots. Last few years, actually the last 5 years, we've received between $15,000 and $19,000 a year from the state in a firefighter safety grant, which has allowed us to replace a lot of our hose, much of our equipment, power saws, things like that, which has been a big help. That grant was last year, and I've been told don't expect to see that anytime soon. The state is not funding that. So any equipment replacement at this point is strictly coming out of budget. It's currently budgeted at $10,000. That number's been there since probably about 2008 and has not changed. And obviously costs have gone up. The state grants put us a little bit ahead of the curve, but we're still not going to need to keep up. As Mr. Bedard mentioned, expenses are crazy on stuff, and that with vehicles or equipment, it's all over the place. Same thing in radio maintenance. Radio maintenance has been at $10,000 for years. The cost of radios has gone up significantly. This covers maintenance of the radio infrastructure, not replacing it, but maintaining what we have. It covers maintenance of portable radios, mobile radios, batteries, repairs, things like that, which again have all gone up too. Just as an example, to replace a Fireground grade portable radio is running about $4,300 a unit for us nowadays. And there's radios that are far more expensive out there with that. We replaced several of them, fortunately through ARPA funding, but we've replaced about a half to 2/3. We need to continue to replace it. My goal would be that we can at least buy a couple a year to be able to do that and still be able to maintain everything else. I've asked for an increase in the last couple of years and it just hasn't been there, and I put this out that it is a concern with inflation of everything out there. The other big line would be vehicle maintenance. Next slide. As the Finance Committee knows, I asked for a $12,000 reserve fund transfer this past fiscal year to cover repairs on one of the ambulances. Again, vehicles are more complex. We're running into more complex repair issues that DPW can't fix, and we have to farm them out. So the main places this is being requested in is purchase of service. As mentioned in some of the other ones, when you see our budget, it has purchase of service and purchase of sales. Sales is basically buying parts that our mechanic can do or things that we can fix ourselves. Purchase of service is when it's something beyond DPW's capabilities. It's a pump repair, it's electronics, it's an engine or a transmission, it's body work that we have to send it out somewhere. I mean, one of the ambulances we put the better part of probably 20 grand into, and that truck's not that old. And it's been a lot of emissions issues with them. And that stuff that we can't, that just, the highway department doesn't have the bandwidth, the time, or the technology to be able to do that. So we have to send it out. Again, even with newer vehicles, we find now it's not mechanical, it's electronic, and that we have to deal with a lot. All these vehicles, beyond state inspections, the trucks with fire pumps, those have to be serviced and inspected every year. The ladder truck has to be serviced and inspected and certified every year, along with the ground ladders. A lot of that comes out of vehicle maintenance as well, too. And again, we're just trying to keep our budget in line with what we have for expenses. So the total requested increase in the expense line is $32,000. Next slide. So again, the impact of the budget as suggested or recommended, it increases our career coverage in the station to 7 days a week. And that's supplemented with per diem staffing. It more properly funds our EMS supply and equipment support needs, increases funding for our replacement of portable radios, other radio equipment, and it increases funding to provide more advanced service and mechanical work for our emergency vehicle fleet. As far as expectations for the next 3 to 5 years, there would be step increases for the new staff as they are new. Most of the other staff are already at max, so it would be mostly for the new people and just within the collective bargaining agreement. Beyond that, there's always challenges in recruiting and retaining new call firefighters. The challenge we see nowadays is we do still get them, but we're not getting people that just want to be call firefighters. We are the first step in the door to becoming a career firefighter. And we train them, we get them, and oftentimes in 4 or 5 years, they're moving on somewhere else. And maybe we hang on to them, maybe we don't. Most of the true call firefighters that we have that have other jobs, they're doing those jobs, and they do this on a part-time basis, are all over 50 and will probably be aging out in the next 5 to 10 years. And coming in the door, the young guys are great, but they all want to be career firefighters. They're moving on. And it's something we've got to look at. We invest a lot in equipment and training, and the guys are great. But having that base of people, the suggestion's been made to look at an independent staffing study. I would recommend that, to look at what our needs would be further down the road. You know, the next step may be a fourth person on shift all the time. Whether we do that with per diem or that we need to do that with staffing, I think it needs to be looked at, and there needs to be some data behind it. My personal feeling is I think we can do it with per diem for a while, but like everything else we've done, it works for a while, and then it starts to wear out, especially as we get busier and busier. 90% of the per diem staff are all career firefighters somewhere else. So we are battling against their regular jobs and the demands that are put on them on their regular jobs for overtime, for force-ins, things like that. And that's always going to be a challenge under that model. So these are things, I say them not to scare anybody, but it's things that we're going to need to think about. I would anticipate we're going to get busier as the town sees more development. There's going to be more demand for service and that. As far as the expense lines, I would anticipate incremental changes. The big challenge we have is federal grant funding is very uncertain. Currently, we had applied for a federal grant to replace our small brush truck. We've heard nothing on that. We're starting to hear towns seeing it. Anybody follows the news, they're all over the place. We get an emergency management preparedness grant through the state, but it's federal money. It's usually just under $4,000 every year. I have not yet heard if we're even going to see that money this year. I'm told if we do see it, it's going to be much less. And I've heard talk that depending on the strings attached to it coming from Washington, the state may not even accept it. So I'm not holding my breath on a lot of grant funding coming in, at least in emergency services, for any time in the near future. Again, supply and vehicle maintenance costs may increase. How much? That's going to be a factor of the run volume, what we see in development. We've already seen the strain on EMS. It's probably a couple more years before they build the standalone emergency room in Groton, if they get that off the ground. With that, especially on the EMS vehicles, you're seeing more and more wear and tear. My capital plan last year, I looked at a plan to eventually put a third ambulance in the station, and instead of a 10-year cycle, work them on a 12-year cycle, that they're doing 4 years frontline, 4 years backup, 4 years spare. So when one truck is down, we still have a replacement and can keep 2 trucks on the road. And again, inflationary costs, I don't know what those are going to be. They're all over the place. So I would anticipate the expense lines would be incremental unless something crazy happens like 2020 and stuff goes completely off the rails. And any questions? Yes.
So did you have built in there an increase in equipment? If we add a 4th shift, they're going to need safety gear?
That would come out of the existing budget.
Okay.
And that, yeah, I mean, beyond the contractual requirement for their uniforms, the turnout gear would come out of budget.
Okay, but
You
that
know,
wouldn't be.
We have $20,000 a year. That buys us around 4 sets of turnout gear a year. So we should be able to replace them out of that.
So we would just basically skip okay.
Yeah, I don't see a need to increase that at this time.
How many on-call firefighters do we?
Approximately 35.
Oh, wow.
Right now. And that. Again, 2/3 to 3/4 of them are all career firefighters somewhere else, which is the challenge of not all of them live in town.
They're union.
And that a lot of these guys started out with us, have taken on jobs somewhere else. They stay on part-time or per diem with us, but they can't afford to live in town, so they live nearby. A couple of them have taken jobs even further away, but they still come out and work for us once in a while. So I hang on to them, but we don't see a lot of people that just are doing another job and they just want to be a part-time fireman. That's how I started out. There's a few of us old-timers that started out that way, and we're a dying breed. unfortunately.
The handymen and contractors.
Yep.
That's what he's talking
They-
about. People who had a different vocation.
Yep.
That was the
Yep.
norm. That
Yep.
you had a full-time other vocation.
We used to have 6 to 8 town employees or school department employees that would drop what they were doing and respond on calls back when I first came on. And that's gone away. And you don't have the people that work in town anymore. We have a few, but they're few and far between. And they're not kids.
I mean, if you go back a few decades, there were students that were on-call firefighters. I hear stories from Bob Ebersol all the time.
I was one of them.
Oh, there you
And
go.
What changed in 1997 was they required the physical agility test to be a firefighter in the state. You have to be 18 to take it.
Right.
So that put a big crimp in that program. We still do take some interns from the high school, but they're much more limited.
Right.
I mean, we had, my class, the group that I came through, we had 6 of us, and you generated 2 fire chiefs, a national park senior executive, a fire protection engineer, so.
Yeah, some of those changes sometimes are driven by union contracts.
It was driven by the state solely, nothing to do with.
Might have been
virtually all of our career staff came as call firefighters
Yeah.
up through the ranks.
So, a few quick questions. Do you have a deployment plan if you hire these 3 new career firefighters?
Be 3 people a shift.
So the reason I ask is the following. I don't imagine you would be able to hire everyone at the same time, day one. And then if we change how everything is scheduled, like we might actually create more strain on the current staff. If our plan is, we're gonna go through the 4th shift immediately, but then we don't actually are able to hire people. So I'm just asking to put some thought on that so we don't end up in a worse.
It would be a
case.
function of, it would be a conversation but within the department with the town manager. Once negotiations are done, once the positions are funded, we interview them, get them hired, and figure, okay, it might not be July 1, it might be August 1st or September 1st.
Right, that's what I'm saying,
And,
like a deployment
okay, on
plan.
this date, we implement it.
Right,
So-
and that's what
Yeah.
the other, I know you have the effects of new growth. I think you wrote large-scale projects for the last 17 years. I think there are a lot of factors that go into this, including, aging population.
Absolutely.
And I think your main data came from when Lunenburg had 3 developments that came back to back to back. I'm not sure, I see why this slide is here, but I think it doesn't really serve the purpose because I think you're trying to illustrate, because there's so many other factors other than just that one.
There's a lot, but at the end of the day, when you add more people, we get more calls for service.
And I think, that projection goes with that. It's not always one-to-one, what I'm saying is this slide doesn't really tell me everything I would want to know. It just prompts me to ask a lot more questions. So that's my
The
only
point is, they always in conversations I have heard about how they worry, the worry has always been with development that it affects the schools. Yes, it does. It affects other agencies as well. Especially, we need over 55 housing, but that does affect us. Not saying don't build more housing, but just the point being, it affects public safety, it affects fire, it affects police.
I think there's a story to be told there. I'm not disagreeing at all, and I fully support. I'm just saying, this one slide with this one data point just gives me a lot of more questions to, I think we can probably have that conversation about the impact of, aging population, like the last projections that I saw from the COA, we are going to shift into a much older town over the next 5 to 8 years.
People that are living much longer, much sicker at home with no support system. And their support system often becomes public safety because there is no one else to call when they fall, when they have a problem.
Exactly.
Family doesn't live nearby anymore. It's not the whole neighborhood's one last name, like when I grew up. And it's a different world.
Right.
And there's people that are at home now that 40 years ago would not have lived to be home. They are living with extremely complex medical conditions.
Oh, 100%. And that's why this one slide just gives me more questions.
No, it's,
about,
like I
about
said,
what you're
it's,
trying
it-
to say,
it's
about
a,
the
it's a
story
function
that
of,
you're saying.
you know, we've
Right.
gone from, many years ago, I can remember when this town was 6,000 people, now it's 12.
Right.
We're growing.
I mean, I only moved in 20 years ago, and you're 8,000, and
I still remember only having to dial 4 digits to call across town.
there you go.
And me too, and I'm not that old.
Right. Anything else for the chief?
That's what I tell myself.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Chief. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Last but not least, you were manning the phone, see how many phone calls we got in today?
So you can run out in case there's something going on up there.
Right.
All right, this will be a boring presentation.
Will it?
You have that up? No, the other one, the previous one, says pre-26.
What? I'm on the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to go off the, hold on. I need to go off the.
What was it?
Pre-FY 26.
It's on the splash drive, right?
Yep.
Pre-FY 26.
There we go. For those of you that don't know me, Jeff Thibodeau, Chief of the Lunenburg Police Department. Next slide. Right here is our structure that we have here at the department. We filled 3 open slots. We have 2 new officers being appointed on the 7th, which is going to bring us up to staff, which we've been battling for many years now. We've had high turnover and vacancies.
Are those all the same color? I can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it just,
They're in
they're all funded, is all.
Next one, just take you through the FY '23, '24, and '25, our total salaries, the expenditures, basically in the 97, 96, and 92 range. Obviously, our budget is personnel-driven. It's 83% of our budget is all personnel, overtime, salaries. Next slide. You can see in the past years, obviously, there's the amounts, the actuals, and what was spent, and then left over. When you see stuff left over, that was for vacancies. For the last 2 to 3 years, we went through 6 officers that had left and new officers. So when you have officers retire at the highest step, and then we hire at a lower step, obviously there'll be money left in there.
So can I make a general quote? So the schools are not the only ones that sometimes hand back money.
Everybody,
I know.
yeah.
I'm just saying, that's $177,000 there.
Free cash. That's good.
That's not their overall turn back.
No.
So that's one line that offsets. They didn't turn back 177,000. The police department did not, Jeff,
No.
Well, it says give back, sorry, I guess I
It's
misinterpreted
usually,
what give back
so
means.
If you look at the past years, we expended 97%, 96%, 92%. It's actually, usually like the general give back is probably in like the $20,000 to $30,000.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just misinterpreted this said give back.
So what's that number mean? What does balance, what does balance mean?
So, let's see, which one? We'll go to police salaries, go down.
Yeah, police total salaries.
Go down here. Like,
keep going.
no, up. Right here. So 17,000 given back, 3,000. And so basically in those lines, take for instance, police executive assistant. We had one person making more money, we hired the next person. So in the middle of the year, that person was budgeted for 69,000. The next person came in and only made 59,000. So when you budget for the next year, we had people leave in January, obviously that line's going to have excess.
Okay.
Did I explain it well? So say you have a top step patrolman leave,
Yeah, I think.
and then you
Yeah,
hire.
I get
Yeah.
why. I'm just confused why that isn't the amount returned. Do you,
Where does the money go?
yeah, do you just move it to other
Somewhere else.
expenditures?
No, that line would be given back. So in FY '25, $463 was given
We're
back.
looking at the third slide, the police total salary, this one. Where it says balance, give back, the 177.
Your overall FY '25 ending budget,
Yep.
how much overall was not salaries, at bottom line?
Bottom line?
Bottom line police budget.
Why can't we just subtract the top number from the middle number to get the bottom number?
I think,
Because it's a bottom line budget that includes things other than just salary.
So,
So it's the total police budget.
Salary's underrun by that amount. I mean,
That's all it's
In
saying.
FY '25, we had 3 officers leave. So that would,
okay. so
Giving
this
back
is-
money is good. That's free cash.
It's better than, yeah.
Right, I'm
Yeah, okay.
just pointing out that it's a big number. But I guess it's not a big number because this is just the salary portion.
Yeah, I think
It doesn't
that's-
include the other expenses, which is fine, that has now been explained to me. I just, when I looked at this number, right, on the slide, it said give back, so I get it.
Yeah, it's an underrun.
Now, but that money has been allocated to other areas that the police department
Well, I
need.
don't know, that's what I was asking.
Right, yeah.
I don't know that he has that tonight.
That's fine, I just,
Yeah, it's just unexpended salaries, which makes sense because you guys have been,
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It happens in every,
Short-staffed
it happens in every department. I'm not,
obviously, when somebody leaves, usually for a police department, it takes us almost 6 months to fill those positions. If the person has to go to the academy. Just alone, when you hire a new officer, once that officer steps in the door, there's an additional 240 hours of training before they're on their own.
wow.
So there's a lot of, when we lose one person, it's substantial to the department operations. And when we lose 6, that's a lot. But we got 2 new hires, 3 new hires, and looking to stay steady here for a couple of years. Down on police expenses. All this stuff right here, you'll see you'll see incentives and stipends. It's all contract driven. That's all CBA. That's all driven. We're have a contract just settled, so you'll see those numbers when I bring up FY '27. There'll be a difference, and like I said, 83% is all personnel driven, so it's all contractual. Next slide. Again, the stipends, everything contractual. Next. Overtime, community policing, holiday pay, court time, and investigative field services. Investigative field services is your required investigations by your detective, your SRO. That's above and beyond their shift. Usually proactive investigations that they're doing, and not just your regular overtime of filling people's shifts when somebody takes off.
What's community policing in regards to OT pay?
Community policing is basically high school football games, Boys and Girls Club, the Lions Club, Lake Shirley, Lake Willem, boat patrols, the Miles for Miles, any community events that require an officer, we put an additional officer on to basically house that event. That'll be under the community policing. Obviously, we do a ton of events here in Lunenburg, and we always have our officers involved. A lot of the school events, open houses, stuff like that, our SROs go to. That's just not your regular overtime. That's actually covered by our community policing to have the officers there.
thank you.
Next slide. Firearms training, specialized training, and less lethal training. All those are your state mandated trainings that we have to go to, and it's all personnel driven, and that's their above and beyond overtime. Each officer, I believe it were around 64 hours of mandated training. So we're at about 1,200 hours that officers have to do department-wide that comes out of those budgets. Next. Here's the expenses expended and the balance. So the balance, that's your 70%, 86%, 84%. A lot of that is basically driven by, year to year, having less people, having more people. Again, it's really been it's been a challenge these last couple of years with the amount of people we've had leave. So having a steady budget throughout the year when you're replacing shifts has been quite a challenge. Next.
So why do people leave?
More money. This day and age right now, I guess Chief Sullivan actually talked about it, living in town, working your whole career in town, it's a thing of the past. The officers now are a lot younger, and the market right now is very competitive with cities and towns in Massachusetts as to even sign-in bonuses, which I thought I would never see. Departments are offering sign-in bonuses for the officer to sign up if you lateral transfer. You have Leominster, Fitchburg, first time in history at Boston taking lateral transfers from out of the city of Boston. All of this is unprecedented, has never been seen in law enforcement. So it's basically taken on like a competitive market, like the private sector, basically. We just settled a new contract, and just like that, we got 3 people.
Salary.
Yeah.
It boils down to salary.
It boils down to salary. That's right.
Is there a net need across Massachusetts for police officers, and like how much is that?
As far as like a lack of officers?
Lack of officers across the state.
If you could, if you did the numbers, some of the numbers I hear, well, we could break it down by academies. Where academies used to have 60 to 70 people, academies now have like 25 to 30. The Fitchburg State Police Academy that just ran, that we got an officer out of, they had 13 officers graduate. They should be in like the 40 to 50 range. So it's just as a whole. And so what happens is you have every police department, city and town in Massachusetts going for that small number of candidates, and it's a buyer's market. Who's paying me the most? Who's offering the most? The incentives, the bonuses, the education incentives. You're also seeing a lot of the officers have college degrees now. 20 years ago, college degree was not really as prevalent as it is. So now the younger officers, they want to get paid for that education. Next slide.
Oh, what's with the balance for FY '23, $98,000? Were there grants involved that came into the fund?
No, that was that was in our expense budget. So in the expenses, we probably didn't have any cars broken. I'll break it down with the expenses later.
Is the balance remaining? Because the balance remaining is more than the budget. I'm just confused about that.
Is that accurate?
Oh.
The first column? Should it be 19,000?
Yeah, FY '23.
Hmm?
Yeah, it should be, 18, I think?
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
19.
Sorry, typo.
19.
Okay.
I'll take 84 from 65.
Oh, no, it's fine. Emily did it for me. I was just curious if there was some sort of.
Thank you, Chris.
grants.
Chris picked up on it. Next. The equipment maintenance, print and postage. You'll see in the later slides, the motorcycles no longer, so we took that one out. Postage won't be in there either. And the equipment maintenance, we were very high. That was our repairing our body cameras. If you remember, we got a grant for our body cameras. We originally put them in 4 years ago, and their shelf life is pretty much like any electronic item. They break. So we were repairing those at a huge cost, and we replaced all of those with capital, and they haven't broke yet. But that's something you're probably going to look at like a 5-year lifespan, but we originally we got a grant, and then, you know, we had capital for it. Next slide.
And the game is over, and we won 3-1.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, the Red Sox won?
Yeah?
Oh.
These guys.
Oh,
All right.
No.
It's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
I'm recording it, but that's okay.
A lot of,
Now you don't have to watch it.
No, I'm done. But somebody out there is.
Renee was going to tell you as soon as you got home anyway.
a lot of these lines right here are software, dues, memberships, training course fees, based on how much the courses cost. Dues and memberships are accreditation fees, are MPI fees. A lot of that is driven by accreditation. And digital detail software is the software we used for our scheduling and overtime and details. Next slide. Office supplies, firearm supplies, badges, and our K-9 expenses. K-9 expenses obviously is food, vet bills. Again, a little fluctuation there year by year depending on vet bills and stuff like that. They were higher 1 year. Poor Hank got hurt. You'll see it. You'll see it was high.
It's not funny. Why are we laughing?
She went,
No, hey.
yeah, because every person went, oh.
Lockup, again, we're at 15,000 this year. Last year, 15.8, we went over a little bit. That all depends. If you look back, our lockup budget used to be around $100,000. Now, the Worcester Sheriffs started a program where they house male prisoners for us, which has drastically decreased our lockup by about $80,000. So just in that program of the Worcester County Sheriffs, doing that for all the cities and towns in Worcester County, we were able to reduce that budget by a significant amount. This year, FY 26 and 27 would be about 15 grand, which is usually what we do.
Can I ask a question, Chief? Are these people that are held at the station and then transported?
These would be
Or-
non-bailable.
Okay,
It would be high bail if they not able to come up with bail, default warrants.
and so they stay at the station or they're going someplace else?
Males are going to Worcester County.
Okay.
Safe lockup, and females would be staying in-house.
Okay.
So most of that expense would be for females. Males, if they're not bailed, they're more likely than not transported to Worcester Sheriff's
Okay,
at pretty much no cost to us,
that's great.
which, like I said, that was like an $80,000 reduction. Next slide.
Thank you, Sheriff Lou.
Yeah. This is our Neshoba Valley Regional Dispatch. It's usually around 200,000, depending on which towns. Additional Hudson on, it always fluctuates. When we take on more towns, it goes down, but it's pretty much been steady around the 200 range. Radio Watch, which originally was our dispatch center, that's for our Evelyn, who sits in there. That's her salary from 7 to 3. And then the salary overtime is to keep the lobby open from 3 to 7. That's Monday through Friday. Basically, we're open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Are we charged per call?
No.
Why would you ask?
I'm
Nobody,
just curious if
nobody would ever want that. So historically, Lunenburg was the biggest town, biggest call volume, in Neshoba when we joined Neshoba Dispatch.
Are we the biggest town, or are we just the most troublemakers?
No, we were the biggest town.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
And right now, we took on Hudson, which probably is probably going to be in the higher range than us. But, you know, you also have, communities like Berlin and Lancaster in there, Harvard.
Although, some of those small towns have high call volumes, right? So like, a town like Berlin that has nobody, they have Kamal and 495. But we are
We're
looking
still
on-
winning.
We are looking on taking on Sterling
I think Sterling.
and, is that it right now?
I
Sterling.
think it was
So
just Sterling.
if one more comes on, this line will go.
What year did we start Neshoba Valley? Was it like a decade ago?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a while ago.
Okay. You don't have to know the exact year, I'm just,
So how is that a budget by town if it's not by call volume?
There's a formula that takes it into factor. No, it's not. In this, it's even Stevens.
Yeah, it's across the board. Yeah.
My last dispatch, it was a formula.
No, we pay the same as Lancaster, we pay the same as Harvard. Yeah,
it's all the same? Oh, so,
yeah.
So I was, when I
So I
actually
think we should
originally,
move the question.
I originally wanted to have it formula based, but when I talked to the chief, that was gonna go not in our favor.
Yeah.
But at some point, that may be.
Just the police department alone, we're probably looking at like 22, we average about 22,000 calls, you know, interaction with Neshoba. So 22,000 is a pretty high volume.
22,000
Like,
911 calls?
Not 911, no.
Oh.
So they do our business line after hours. Say if we stop a car, we call into them.
Oh, okay.
So for them, it would be a call.
Is,
You know,
is there any long-term plan to curtail costs from call-ins from the town of Lunenburg regarding like high-volume users?
No. Next slide. Animal control. Animal control has pretty much been the same for a long time. We've enjoyed the excellent work of our longtime employee Kathy Como, and if that ever ends, you could probably see a significant, probably that line will double. It's something to, you know, keep in the back of your minds. I think she's been here for 46 years of dedicated service. And if we were to have anybody other than Kathy, we can probably look at double on those amounts.
Is it realistic to think that somebody who's worked here for 46 years is gonna keep doing that?
She's an excellent employee.
She likes doing it.
She's dedicated.
There you go.
She's very stubborn.
When Sully was talking about the people in town that live in town and worked in town, you know, she's one of those dedicated servants.
That's amazing.
Yep. I don't think we'll ever see that again. Next slide. Vehicle maintenance, always fluctuating. Purchase of service, supplies, fuel. Our fuel is pretty much, you know, we go with the cost of fuel. You'll see it was higher in some years. Right now, it's a little lower. We're trending pretty much the same. Purchase of service, it's if cars break. We had a bad year in FY24. We had a great year in FY25, and we're off to a bad start right now. We've had 3 major failures in the cars this year alone. Knock on wood, they were covered by warranties, but 3 of our hybrids, we saw major failures in the batteries, and each one of those hybrid batteries costs approximately around $20,000. We don't have the infrastructure to fix the hybrid vehicles. Jim's a diesel and gas mechanic and doesn't have the equipment to service hybrid vehicles either. So that's also something to keep in the back of your mind is the cost if we ever had to replace one of those batteries in the hybrid. Luckily we haven't, but 3 this year. They were all around the 50,000 50,000 mile mark for those vehicles. That's where they were. No rhyme or reason why all three of them went at the same time. Again, very challenging. And not happy about it. Next. Thank you. I do have a Excel spreadsheet for FY '27. I don't know how long we would like to stay here tonight. Just basically, it's our CBA costs. I have it broken down. I think everybody got it.
So I guess the general question, without getting into the details of the chart, is over the next few years, what is your desires or plans as it relates to growth or not?
The next 3 years for our CBA, we're looking at 3, 3, and 3. That's basically how it breaks down for our salaries, is 3%. The other, the expenses and everything else is pretty much level funded.
What about personnel? Are you looking to bring on personnel over that period?
If we can keep everybody after the appointment of October 7th, we're going to keep everybody, and there'll be no more further personnel.
We actually dropped personnel to fund the collective bargaining agreement. We dropped one sergeant, so we're gonna run one sergeant down to run the CBA.
Okay, but your general staffing plan projection is
For the next
flat.
for the next 3 years. Yep. We eliminated the detective sergeant position.
I just want, for the record, keeping minutes if people are leaving, so you, and somebody else left over here, too.
I have to go, but I think Laura's gonna be able to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll stay, yeah.
All right. Anthony Scalabrini leaving. For the minutes, sorry. Not to call them out. but-
Tony is leaving.
You may need to adjourn.
I-
There's three of us.
That's okay. What else?
I just want to say thank you from the school committee for your strong commitment to the schools and the school resource officers, which are just such a huge part of our school community and have really, really played such a vital role. So thank you. I know that's an expense to the town, and that doesn't come out of our budget.
Yep. Town of Lunenburg, we have a great relationship with the schools. We always have. And the fact that we have technically 3 SROs, I'd
Yeah.
like to say, because we have Hank in there. You know, we have Hank and Brad McNamara and Cameron Rowe. Is a huge commitment that we have from the police department to the schools. And the other huge commitment we have in town that we have to thank the people for is community policing. We have a community policing line budget there where our officers are out there. You know, obviously you can see in the community policing line, all the events in the town of Lunenburg, we try and put extra officers out there to have at those events that some cities and towns don't have that. So I'd like to thank the townspeople for that. I'd like to thank all these boards for that. I'm a big community policing guy. You see me at a lot of these events, coffee with the chief at the senior center every month. It's just something, you know, I think is unique to Lunenburg, and I kind of take pride in it.
Well, we appreciate it. Can I ask about the comfort dog? I know Hank is going towards retirement, which we'll all be very sad about. I know there's been some discussion in the past about replacing Hank. Not really replacing, you can never replace, you know.
Not the OG, you can't replace.
Yes, exactly, but could you give us, I know we're going late, but like 2 seconds on like what the plan is moving forward, or if do we need more money?
I believe, no, we don't need more money because Brad has a great relationship in the comfort dog community.
Yep.
And with the breeder that we have Hank from, you know, we've got commitments that we will have another comfort dog.
Excellent.
As long as canine expenses is funded. And the canine care overtime is
Excellent.
funded. Those are the 2 lines that bring you Hank.
Excellent, thank you.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, that concludes your presentation. Thank you very much. And that takes us through our entire agenda. If there was anything anybody didn't get a chance to bring up that needs to address before we get ready to close? No? Okay, seeing no one, I'll ask the Finance Committee to close their meeting.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
You are adjourned. And from the schools?
Can I take a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
You got a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and
And
select board.
opposed? All right, so the meeting is
Hold on.
closed.
Yeah, you're done, but we got the select board asking.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 9:29 PM.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. We are adjourned.
And to anybody at home that wants to catch up to us, we have meetings on October 14th, November 12th, December 9th, and January 13th, and this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator.